You're listening to Season 15 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm about to sneeze. Shit.
Wow,
Be sure to join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
All right. Well,
I think I'm good.
Good.
Sorry.
Keep us posted.
well, that was quite a build-up. Spent an hour and a half waiting for that moment, Jared. And that's when you decide.
Oh my gosh.
And I
Play
think
through, guys.
This is the worst part. It's just a build up of
really
my nerves.
dainty little sneeze.
I want to mute him so he can just go ahead and sneeze, but I don't think he'd be able to find the unmute button.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Oh, no, we need to hear it like happen randomly at some point during the show.
Oh, Jeff.
Maybe during the players of the week, because you know what, it's time for the walking taller, feeling taller players of the week, and well, I mean there was a lot to choose from, wasn't there, Andrew?
Actually, no, there wasn't.
What?
So Stanford played bad. They got to go to Hawaii though, so good on them. But we're not handing out any game balls to ACC players this week. We're handing out our one game ball to Kansei Matsuzawa, who is the kicker from Hawaii. He made 3 field goals and 2 extra points, including the game-winning field goal. And based on things that I saw online and did not validate anywhere, he learned to kick from YouTube videos, which is amazing if true. And I really hope that it is.
They said it during the game.
Good.
Basically, the whole broadcast of this game was talking about how unlikely the Hawaii kicker was, and then just following Andrew Luck around on this Stanford sideline as he roamed.
As he slowly deteriorated and realized he hadn't really gotten anything done yet.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about how much he and Frank Reich love each other. So here goes nothing.
Oh boy.
I mean, well, I can almost buy that. I mean, because I've learned everything I know about podcasting from YouTube as well. So how could I possibly be as good as I am today if it wasn't for YouTube videos?
Going great. I just sent a few videos to Jared to take a look at before our next show.
This is true. Yeah. Jared, did they inspire any deep thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Andrew, here on the Virtual Tailgate. Have some romantic music playing in your backgrounds, folks, since we don't have it here on the podcast because we're broke. But such a stuff. As a male football fan, there's nothing more important than bonding with fellow fans in the bathroom. This is especially true if the only area to urinate is the communal trough. Just remember to keep eye contact at a wall and never cross the stream. High five afterward with a fellow fan and wash your hands if you want. I really don't care as long as you don't touch my hot dog or my hot dog. Back to you.
Play the music. Play the sound. Play it.
Yeah. That's great. Sounds like
sabotaging you, Jared.
Jared, a good segment. I'm just a little bit disappointed that you didn't have a shake on it reference. So.
Well, you know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, David. We should probably be using this one going forward.
Judge Jared's in rare form tonight.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, so
Top five, Clemson, SMU, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami. Nothing's changed. If you want to look up the records, find a Google page. Bottom 3, Stanford, Cal, and Wake Forest. Nothing's really changed. Even though Stanford lost, it doesn't change our bottom power ranking because we really do think Cal and Wake are really, really bad solo dwellers. I guess you could even say The Rock would say something like this.
He might.
The Rock says they kept you at the bottom of the barrel because you absolutely.
That's how you do it, boys and girls. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Jared. That was an inspired segment there. Here's the good news, guys. Week 0 was the appetizer. The Stanford versus Hawaii game was entertaining. It wasn't not high quality football by any means, but it was close, competitive, and fun to watch. But now we've got serious football. And honestly, a really great slate of games in the ACC. We've made picks in all of them, but we're only going to go through our 5 favorite games, and then we'll have a few quick fire at the end. But we're going to open up down in South Carolina. Are they playing this in South Carolina, or is this a neutral site game, Jared?
I don't know. I just
I'm gonna bet it's a neutral site game.
They're playing it on Sunday afternoon, right? That sounds like
it's at Mercedes Benz. I just sneezed over my
All right.
can.
Look,
Thank
you know,
Benz Stadium.
can we talk about things under protest? I'm protesting neutral site games until you actually get to like bowl games. I mean, this is ridiculous, guys. Like, just play it at home because somebody's got to qualify as a home team, anyways. Just play it at home with somebody.
Jeff, there's a decent chance this is the Hokies bowl game here. And they're taking this is this year's version of the Beamer Bowl. It's the Virginia Tech Hokies led by Brent Pry traveling down to take on the Gamecocks of South Carolina, Coach Shane Beamer. This is a big game for both programs. South Carolina has college football playoff and national championship aspirations. Hokies really need and want to get things turned around under Coach Pry. There's some energy around the offense this season. Bringing back Kyron Drones to run that dual threat system. We here on the virtual tailgate, we keep close tabs on the Hokies with Jared being such a big fan. I'm curious to see what you guys expect to happen in this one. It looks like we're kind of split down the middle. So, Andrew, you want to kick us off? Why? How do you see it playing out?
Well, so from a bet perspective, and this being a absolute gauntlet of a opening week with a lots of our virtual tailgate bucks floating around with far too few games and me trying to get some sort of opportunity ahead on everyone else. I am taking the Hokies on the money line because it's a good money line. But I got to tell you, like, that's me trying to play the sports betting game here with these guys and just looking for a little bragging rights. I don't feel like there's quite too much of a shot for the Hokies to win this game. Like you said, neutral site. I feel like even if it were a true road game, it might be a little bit better for them. But I don't. I do feel like South Carolina has really been in an upward trajectory. They're already sitting at number 13 overall in the country. This is a big, tough game for the Hokies to start their season in. I wish it were better for them. And like I said, I would love it if they did go ahead and win and get us on that sweet money line. But even though I picked them to win, I have serious doubts. And I suspect that Jared probably feels the same because I know he bets against this team when he actually wants them to do better and then bets for them whenever he thinks they're not. So,
yeah, it's one of those things where we filled out the game our predictions last week for every game in the ACC. I picked Virginia Tech, and I was like, why the hell did I do that? And I think you nailed it, Andrew. Is that at the end of the day, I'm about to sneeze again. God damn it. At the end of the day, Andrew summed it up perfectly. I think Virginia Tech is not the better team on the field right now. South Carolina's got more talent and honestly probably better coaching. So it's going to probably take a miracle then something for even Virginia Tech to even cover, much less win outright. And even though I have that, don't follow in my footsteps with that bet because it's probably not going to be very smart or beneficial for anybody. So I got Virginia Tech in the money line, but no.
Those are the 2 most lukewarm picks I've ever heard.
It really
Jeff, tell them why they're wrong, although it already sounds like they think they're wrong.
I mean, for 2 people that went against a double-digit spread and took the underdog on the money line, I mean, if you're gonna take it, at least own it and put together. I mean, there's a lot of defense attorneys that know their client's guilty, and they at least put together a better effort than what you put up there.
hey, I wasn't facing Judge Jared today.
I mean, can it's week 1, so can the world be shocked by teams that we don't know exactly what they're going to be this season, or the unpreparedness of one team versus another? But I mean, Andrew, I think made the best case for these are 2 teams in 2 different trajectories. I mean, you've got a Shane Beamer program that's over 500, including SEC play, in his tenure over there. You got a Virginia Tech team that's under 500 collectively with Brent Pry as the head coach there. It's I mean, is it always possible? It's always possible, right? But you're playing a neutral site game, so you're not getting any of the Lane Stadium like bump from anything there. I mean, at least you're not playing in South Carolina, but I don't know that playing a neutral site versus an away game makes much difference. It's you never say never. It's week 1. It's gonna be early in the season, so you don't know what teams are gonna be, but, I mean, these are 2 teams that look like they're heading opposite directions. They each have very different aspirations this season, and to me, it feels like a game in get which the Gamecocks run away with this.
Yeah, I agree. I expect South Carolina to win this one, but I'm taking South Carolina on the money line here because what we saw a year ago is that the Hokies were a competitive team. They fought hard in every game and came up just short. I feel like until we see evidence to the contrary, that's what we're going to continue to expect out of them. I think the Hokies are competitive, show signs of life, lose a close game in this one. As Jared said, South Carolina really is the better team. At least that's what we would expect. They're a team that really, is trying to be competitive in the SEC. And so I'm taking South Carolina, but hedging with the money line in this one myself. Our second game of the week is maybe the most intriguing of all, not so much because of the on the field matchups, but because of the off the field drama. This is the debut of head coach Bill Belichick coming down to the Atlantic Coast Conference, taking over the North Carolina Tar Heels. They play, I believe it's now known as Chapel Bill there in North Carolina, and they are playing host to the Horned Frogs of TCU. And it looks to me in this one like we pretty well got some consensus going on. Jeff, how's it going to play out?
I mean, I think it's gonna play out as a close game. I just have more questions coming into this game of what does this UNC team look like coming into the season? We know we've got you can call it hiring a legendary head coach in Bill Belichick. We're talking what, 6 Super Bowl rings, 8 Super Bowl appearances with Tom Brady. Didn't quite end as good as it had been for the better part of 2 decades in New England. So on one hand, you could say we've got this masterminded head coach. On the other hand, there's been a lot of distractions associated with bringing him in this season. You kinda the tongue in cheek, the Chapel Bill reference. There's just been a lot of distractions that aren't football related necessarily, with this team, and I also think there is still always been a very big, I guess, debate of how transferable going between college and the NFL is. It's very rare that we've seen a coach have significant success at both levels. I mean, you take your Pete Carrolls, you take your Jim Harbaughs out of the equation. There's not a lot of crossover success in between those two areas. And this is Bill Belichick, a coach who's been an NFL coach for over 20 years. Basically his entire career he's been in the NFL spectrum. So is he suited to take the reins of a collegiate football program? You're talking coaching 18, 19, 20-year-old young men as opposed to seasoned athletes who are coming into the NFL. I think there's a lot of questions to do with that, and we're also looking at a roster that's been overhauled, just like most of them are with the transfer portal and NIL. I mean, you still got, I believe, a Marion Hampton back at running back, but I believe there's still a lot of questions going on with that team. I think so. It's just a lot of distractions. Um, Team that underperformed a little bit last season, a TCU program that I believe is playing in a stronger conference, played a little bit better football. I think it could be a close game, but I just have a little bit more confidence in the Horned Frogs coming into this game than I do with the question marks with the Tar Heels.
Yeah, Jeff, I think that's a really good take. I would just add that Omarion Hampton is now a Los Angeles Charger.
What?
He is coached by another great college football legend, Jim Harbaugh.
See, there was still the connection there. It's like it was all stream of
What you meant to
consciousness right
say.
there.
I don't think Jim's gonna be coming back to the college ranks, though. That's beyond the ACC, but, I don't think we're gonna see him, roaming the sidelines of an NCAA program anytime soon.
Yes, R.I.P., R.I.P. May he rest in power. We'll miss him dearly. Um, anyway, I think Jeff made some great points, and you know, I got we gotta move this thing along.
Well
So I'm not
said.
anything else to say, not because I didn't do any research, just because I have nothing else to say.
Hey, look, I'm taking UNC to cover the spread, but I'm still expecting a TCU victory. It's mostly just on perhaps some garbage time points or
So
something like
so
that.
so so Andrew, on what is it, a 3.5 point spread, right?
Andrew's
Yeah,
threading the needle here.
So we need a final score prediction if you're gonna go with something like that.
30 to 28. How's that?
30-28. All right, you heard it right here. 30-28.
Here's what I'll tell you. Whatever happens on the field, the final score of this one is gonna be 73-24. And if anyone doesn't know what that means, they can do some research. You might Google Bill Belichick girlfriend and to learn more. A question that I have though, Jeff, is you mentioned that there's a lot of questions around how Belichick handles the younger players, players who are not professionals. But the truth is, these guys really are professionals, right? They're getting paid pretty handsomely. UNC's really invested heavily in NIL. He's trying to set up sort of a, a, a preparatory academy down there for the NFL. And so maybe if he was ever going to make the jump to college, this is the time, right?
I mean, I think anything is possible, and I think that's a good point that we are inching more and more towards these players being closer to professionals in that aspect. I think part of it is still that it's still very much like the Wild West as far as how the payment goes with these players. To me the missing piece, if we're gonna call them, and that this isn't for like necessarily for this show, but there has to be some sort of tie-in for these players if we're gonna be talking about millions of dollars being given to these guys. I mean, even at the NFL level, if you sign a contract for multi-millions of dollars, the team owns those rights to you, right? Whereas like right now, you're still basically have in my opinion, a perpetual free agent pool, with these players. It seems like every single year. So I think there is like certainly a crossover with the NIL and things going on, but I still think there's a maturity level and just a lack of structure that still leads it, where it's not quite as tied into the team as maybe if you were, like, signing somebody to a contract in the NFL.
Yeah, so, it'd be interesting to see how Bill handles that aspect of things. One thing you gotta hand to him, he is certainly doing his research on what it is like to be a 24-year-old, college athlete. This is sort of the method actor of ACC coaches this season, so it's gonna be a fun experiment there. We've all got, TCU winning the game. Andrew thinks it's gonna be close. I think the rest of us, not so much. I I'm not a big believer in North Carolina right now. I think there's too much drama around that program, so I like TCU to win this one convincingly. Game 3, this is a big matchup. This is the, Alabama Crimson Tide going up against the Florida State Seminoles. FSU coming off an unbelievably disappointing season. This is really a make or break year for Mike Norvell in a big way. Going up against an Alabama program that's trying to find its way in the post Nick Saban era. Kalen DeBoer was good but not great a year ago. Expectations higher down in Tuscaloosa this season. This is a game that starts with Alabama being big time favorites. The game opens at 11.5 point spread in favor of the Crimson Tide. And I think it's pretty clear in this one. You take Bama minus anything until Florida State proves something. They certainly should be improved this year, but this is a Florida State team last year that just would have gotten thumped by a somewhat mediocre Alabama team, a team that was at least on the outside looking in come playoff time. Bama's better this season. FSU has to prove that they are. So clearly, we're going to take Bama with the spread, right, guys?
Not so fast, my friend. Shout out to you, Lee Corso. Last game day. I don't think it's this one. I think it's where is he? Where is Lee
It's
picking his
going to be
last
the
game?
one in Charlottesville, right?
I don't think it's that one, but Lee Corso's last headgear pick is gonna be Saturday, so don't miss the folks on ESPN. That ESPN, don't forget to send the bill, that little free, a little stipend for that promo there. Um, I disagree with you, David. And the reason I'm gonna say that is because I know Florida State had a terrible year last year. And as you say, Alabama didn't have a great year either. And I think actually what you keep hearing is that there's some grumblings already down in Tuscaloosa of almost a, and it's so weird for a team like Alabama who had a decent year, a make or break season under the coach. And he came over from Washington, and it just doesn't seem to be clicking right now, which is I think a little harsh, but it is what it is. Whether you take over a behemoth like Alabama, they expect behemoth results. And I think Norvell at FSU is going to give Bama everything they got. I think they're going to be a little more prepared. I don't think Florida State wins. I do think they cover that spread, though. I think it is a tight game, and I think it's a bit of a confidence boost for Florida State, saying they if they can hang with Bama. I think they probably will admittedly think they have a good shot of being a very competitive team this year in the ACC with the likes of Clemson and SMU. Um, and as for Bama, well, if they don't destroy Florida State or blow them out, I think that's going to be some telltale signs of Bama is not the king of the SEC anymore, and there could be changes at the end of this football year for that coaching staff as well.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that this is I think that David is correct in his assumption that the gut check is based on the disaster that last season was for Mike Norvell and that entire team is to take Alabama with Alabama with the spread on this one. And I can certainly be this is not a game I have a huge amount of confidence in either one of these teams. Jared, you kind of hit on that a little bit. To me, for a matchup of call it what you will. I mean, these are not your even 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago for Alabama for that matter, Seminoles and Crimson Tide matchup. But these are still two teams that are going to have talent on each side of the football. They're going to have had all season to prepare for each other. It's not a week preparation. It's a month or several month preparation for this big build up game. Knowing that at least for Florida State, this is possibly one of it's probably one of the top 2 or 3 games this season that you're going to be playing. Looking at the ACC, I don't have their schedule in front of me, but this is a marquee game for them, and for Alabama, it's still an attention drawer, although they will certainly be playing marquee games week in and week out. But I do think there's a regression, back to the median of both these teams, with that Alabama is not as good as that big spread, and most notably, if Mike Norvell hopes to keep that job and build that team back up and keep the locker room, they're gonna have to come with a good performance in this opening season game against Alabama, and for those reasons, I believe Alabama wins this game. It it could turn into a blowout, I'm not saying that it won't, but for some reason, I feel like Florida State keeps this game close. Maybe they don't keep it super close. They get a back, get a garbage time touchdown to close it back into that, sub 2 touchdown spread. But I just feel like this is somehow, some way going to work its way into um, you know, Florida State at least covering the spread, even if they don't end up with the outright win in this one.
We get caught in these look back traps often, whereby a team does terrible one year, and so we mark them as terrible the next year. And
Isn't that
while
like the number one indicator of whether they're gonna be good or not? It's like how they
well,
performed previously.
okay, we've done extensive multi-decade analysis on Miami, and we're gonna get to that game in a second, and it is perfectly valid there. But, like, Florida State really did just, like Sideshow Bob step on a million rakes last year, and I have to think, like, we all kinda knew that that was coming, particular particularly with like the trumpeting uh, DJ Uiagalelei for the 80th time as if he was going to be somebody's, best quarterback, and he really never was. I'm not saying that Tommy Castellanos is like the most amazing quarterback ever, but I think everybody kind of knows that, and so like there ought to be more um, coaching preparation around the edges in this with this team. I really just do think there that like Florida State is a team that should be really good. They have been under Norvell in the past. I don't know what happened last year, uh, and this is one of those games that's going to tell us did something that's a fluke happen last year, or is Florida State now just like equivalent to Virginia, Stanford, and Cal in the ACC. So I'm going to give them a little bit of hope that, hey, with only a less than 2 touchdown spread, like when teams are really, really, really not going to win a game, no chance, no matter what, that's like a 24-30 point spread that sometimes we don't even get to bet on, as in the case of, say, Pitt Duquesne this week. But like a, you know, 10-11 point spread, that means that I think we do the math that that's something like 1 out of every 3 times the underdog wins that game. So 1 out of every 3 times, maybe they win. I've also not been super impressed with Alabama since Coach Saban left, and so I feel like there's a chance that maybe these teams are going to cross paths in kind of in opposite directions this time. We'll see. But that's my theory of why I'm taking FSU on the money line. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that it's a plus 330 return on the bet. Nothing at all.
Oh, Moneyline Marshall is nothing if not consistent here. My favorite part of that take was that you said you were gonna give Florida State a little bit of credit, then you picked them to beat the number 8 team in the country. So, all right. I'll tell you this, with the 3 of you all taking the Seminoles, I have never felt better about a pick in my life than,
Aw.
uh, minus anything. Another really big matchup coming up this weekend. This game is going to be played, I believe, on Sunday night in prime time. This is Notre Dame traveling down to South Florida to take on the Miami Hurricanes. Two preseason top 10 teams matching up. Notre Dame coming off a loss in the national championship game a year ago. Miami for the 20th consecutive season, hoping to truly be back to their form as a national powerhouse. Lots of moves in the offseason, NIL deal. We've talked before about Carson Beck's arrival in Miami and what that means. It looks to me like a lot of us, I'm surprised by this. I'm taking the U, and I thought that I'd be the outlier because you guys hate Miami with the passion of a thousand blazing suns, and yet most of you are taking the Hurricanes. Jared, why don't you first tell us why we're wrong to pick Miami in this one?
Oh, look, he
He did
something
figure out
went
how to
mute.
mute himself.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I found it. I found the Um, David, to answer your question, I think it just comes back to my concern of when Miami will go ahead and poop the bed. Notre Dame is a good team. Like, give Freeman credit as the head coach. He has done a good job of coaching the Fighting Irish. And I, they're not going to be a championship contender. I don't think. I think they'll be a playoff contender because of the how generous it is for them to get into a playoff because they're not a part of a conference and they're Notre Dame. But
Pencil them in every year, man.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think they actually are better than Miami. And I know Miami's got the transfers in and out. And I know it's playing down the south at the U, but I just feel like it's just a hunch. It really is. I just don't think Miami's gonna be doing this typical Miami thing. Everyone's got these high, great expectations. 10-win Miami, 11-win Miami, playoff Miami, and they'll be 7, 8 wins. And I think it happens again this year. I know maybe last year was a slight anomaly with Cam Ward at quarterback, but even then, if you look back at their season, they had a lot of breaks go their way. that honestly, if it was a 500 for those breaks, they would have had 2 less wins. And at that point, they're just a team. And I think that's what Miami is at the end of the day. I don't think they're a great team. I just think they're a team.
It goes
All
like this,
right.
David.
Now,
It goes
yeah.
like this. Miami wins and wins and wins and wins until they get up high enough that they fall really, really far, really, really fast. So Miami could win this game. I've got Miami winning on the money line. It's only a 2.5 point spread. That means that like people who are much smarter than us who run the numbers see this as being an incredibly close game. The lines haven't moved much, which tells me that the people who are betting on this also think it's going to be a very close game. But it's not about this game for Miami. It's about the way that they're just going to stink in November, and it's not going to matter how well they play right now. So I'll take Miami on the money line to beat Notre Dame because you know what I hate even more than Miami sometimes?
Notre Dame. Yes. Yes. Jeff, I don't know how you're gonna top that.
I mean, occasionally, like, it's not often on this show that we all, like that any of us end up in, like, kind of a telepathic, like, stream of consciousness here, but I was gonna make one of my points was gonna be the same thing that Andrew said, is that Andrew or is that Miami will suck eventually this season. They just won't do it in week 1 of the season, and henceforth, they have to win this game to get off on that right foot in order to build themselves up to the level that they will inevitably fall from sometime around trick or treating time in October. So that's point number one. Point number two is I look at the quarterback play here. On one hand, you've got the uncertainty of Carson Beck coming back from the injury, but he's also a proven starting quarterback. Miami, on the other hand, has put a lot of money not just into the offensive side of the ball, but bringing in. I mean, as you said, David, they've gone all in with this NIL stuff this year. I mean, they are really building a team. They're preseason top 10. For better or for worse, people think that they have the talent on their team. They have paid for that talent on their team. Notre Dame's rolling out, I believe, a freshman starting quarterback, which just seems like a disaster in the making. If Miami's defensive players that they have added through all this NIL stuff, really get after him. I just go back to who do you trust more? Carson Beck, an experienced quarterback, somebody that's already had the experience playing in the SEC at Georgia, or a freshman quarterback where this might be his first big collegiate game under the lights. I think it's a bad matchup for CJ Carr at the quarterback position for Notre Dame playing this Miami team as his first game.
But if you're Notre Dame, who do you like better? Untested freshman quarterback or yet another ACC castoff?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the one. I think everybody, believed that eventually it would be CJ Carr's job. I think there's a little surprise that he's, opening day starting quarterback, but why not? I agree with Jeff though. I actually think I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I actually think Miami's better than Notre Dame this year. And, we can talk about whether Miami is consistently overrated, but I don't think there's any doubt that Notre Dame is pretty, they definitely get a boost from their name recognition every season. I think Notre Dame regresses this year. And it is a big season for Miami. There's a lot of energy and excitement around the program. I think they win this game convincingly because they're the better team. And that brings us to what I think indisputably is the best game, the team with the or the game with the most competitive teams, and that's the Saturday night prime time matchup. This is the battle for Death Valley. It's happening down in Clemson, South Carolina. The Tigers of Clemson hosting the Tigers of LSU. This is another top 10 matchup. Really just a fantastic game. This is the kind of non-conference contest you want to see. Maybe want to take a stab at what the get in the door price for this one is right now. Cheapest tickets in this 90,000 seat stadium at Clemson.
I'm gonna
350.
say I'm gonna say like 145.
Jared's muted
Jared's
again.
just muted himself. I wish he had never discovered that mute button.
That 200, sorry, I don't mean neither.
200. It's a shame that we have to go by Price is Right rules because Andrew was definitely the closest. They went over a little bit. The number's 310.
Wow.
We
$310 just
don't have to go by prices right
we
rules.
don't, and if you add all the taxes and fees, it probably is over 350.
Exactly.
So
Oh, oh,
Andrew
oh, for
wins.
for sure. Oh, for sure. Have you seen the prices of taxes and fees on these sites recently? Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
no kidding. But really, really big contest there. These are both teams with serious playoff, possibly even national title aspirations. Clemson certainly wants to get back into the title game. Dabo's so desperate to do it that he even brought in a couple transfers this season. And,
Wow.
there is a ton of energy. Clemson enters the season number 4 in the rankings, all the world before them. Brian Kelly at LSU, I don't know if you'd say he's been a disappointment there so far. He certainly hasn't had the level of success that they had hoped for when they brought in the authentic Cajun head coach to replace the last guy that he didn't know anything about that sort of thing.
Howdy, y'all.
Right.
Can we get a clip of that just to play at random times? I mean,
Andrew, I'm sure that you're betting the spread in this one, right? The marquee matchup of the week.
Oh
You
no.
would edge on this, would you?
No, definitely. I'm going straight up on the money line of this one for LSU. I will so it based on things you said, David. One, given LSU's impossible standards with all coaches, of course, Brian Kelly's been a disappointment. I don't know that they've had a coach that they've been happy with for the long term ever. Um, while this is a great game to start off the season for fans and just getting everyone hyped for the season, I got to think that for the announcers who are going to be calling this game, they should have waited a few weeks so that the announcers would get the reps in, be in midseason form. Like somebody's just going to be like, and the Tigers score a touchdown in the first couple of minutes, and it's just going to be bad radio. I know that for sure. Um, Nonetheless, this is really not a reflection on Clemson and where they've been, but really that that I think that they're going to have any sort of problems overall this season. But generally, just whenever I see SEC versus ACC, I tend to pick the SEC team, even though it is a home game for Clemson, and also because as much as we love Dabo on this program, and that we have like 10 times as many clips of Dabo as we have of all other coaches combined on this show. Like he has not gotten with the new world, and I think that, like, Clemson needed something more than couple of transfers this year. They really need to figure out how to play on the market. I think if you watched a Clemson team from last year do what Miami did in the offseason, you'd be calling them guaranteed lock in getting to the national championship this year. Dabo's making small steps to get into the transfer world, and that's good. I still think that Clemson's going to have to do that horrible thing that teams do sometimes, where they forget that he won them their national championships and move on to find someone who figures out the new world. And then Dabo is probably going to have to go somewhere else where he figures out the new world as well. I'm not saying that this is the start of that, but I just like when I watch what college football is becoming now, Dabo's not playing that same game, and he needs to win a championship, not playing that same game to prove that that game is not the new way to do everything.
All right. So Andrew's taking the Tigers. Jeff, who do you got?
well, I'm taking the Tigers as well in this matchup. I mean, it was a tough call. I had to really think about it. I wasn't really sure who I was taking, but I'm taking the Tigers on this matchup as well. So
Jared, you appear to be taking selfies right now. What do you
no, and in all seriousness, so we all Tiger jokes aside here with this, I I'm going with with LSU in this one as well. Do not feel very confident in this pick. I think Andrew kind of alluded to that one as well in his pick. I think part of what worries me is not well. One is the reluctance to basically accept that this is what football has become, what collegiate football has become now, with the transfer portal, with on NIL, and embrace that because it does impact the caliber of players you have. But for all the talk about Cade Klubnik on the offensive side of the ball, this is a Clemson defense that really, like, not traditionally struggled last year. A team, especially in the run game last year, that was, I believe, they said they were ranked 16th, which may have, I can't keep track of the number of teams in the ACC anymore, but may have been good enough for dead last in the ACC in rush defense, or if not, it's like second from last in rush defense. So this is a team where we've talked a lot about the offensive side of the ball, but this is a Clemson defense that for years was basically having almost their entire front seven, it felt like, drafted into the NFL on an annual basis. That really unexpectedly did not perform up to snuff last year. They brought him a new defensive coordinator, I believe, this season. How quickly, with just a few transfers, not really fully embracing that dynamic, are they able to turn that around through coaching changes, through the couple of transfers, through freshmen that they develop? Who knows at this point? I'm just a little skeptical that that defense comes back to haunt them in this opening game, and really makes the difference in their ability to pull out a victory. So I'm taking the LSU Tigers, if only for that kind of approach that Dabo has continued to take, in this new era of college football.
So I agree with everything that you and Andrew have said. I am taking LSU also. I've gotta admit that I don't love it. I'm really excited to see this game. I think we're gonna learn a lot about both of these teams, but I don't know how you pick it. I like Cade Klubnik a lot. He showed flashes over the past season of greatness. I don't know that he's quite as consistent as we wanted to see. Again, it's an LSU team that's been battle tested and they brought in a ton of talent. I just don't know what to make of this game. I'm taking LSU on the road in part because I'm going with the when everyone else zigs, you zag approach. And I feel like Clemson is so hot and getting so much love right now. LSU not quite as much. And I think people just get proved a little bit wrong here in week one. So with all the three of us taking LSU, Jared, I assume you're going to make this a clean sweep, right?
Not so fast, my friend. Uh, I I disagree. Listen, you guys do remember LSU has to go to Clemson, not Clemson going to LSU, and that's a huge difference. Clemson is not a walk in the park, and even with a team like LSU that's used to these adverse conditions, night games, and opponents, tough opponents that away from their Baton Rouge. It's so tough, and you know, at the end of the day, I just don't. I just think Dabo's got him ready. I think with the new transfers, he's got just a few. I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be enough to maybe swing the game to his side and pull off. I not even the upset. Clemson is, I think, isn't Clemson favored to win? I just think it's just gonna be enough. Dabo finds a way.
They say you get 3 points if you're at home just against, like, as a starting out position. The spread's 2.5. That means it's already trending towards LSU.
Oh, gamblers are wrong. I mean, just saying,
Gam Gamblers are wrong.
gamblers are wrong. Professionals are wrong. You're wrong. The whole damn system is wrong. And that's some feedback.
All right,
But you can provide your feedback to us at the virtual tailgate at gmail.com.
mediabullcrap.com, but yeah.
Ah, damn it.
At any rate, let's move on to Quickfire Bets. All right, Jared, what you got?
Okay.
30 seconds or less.
Tennessee is taking on Syracuse. Syracuse actually is going down to Tennessee. Because of that, the spread is, for whatever reason, Tennessee minus 13 or 14 the hook. That's easy money. Tennessee covers that by halftime, and they win big.
Yep.
David, easy money?
Yeah, completely easy. Like this, I've never felt more confident about a pick between power conference schools than I do in this one. The Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech I believe this is on the road, right? They're traveling out to Colorado for this game. Um, and I think these are two programs that are going in fundamentally opposite directions here. Georgia Tech are legitimate ACC contenders. I think they've got a real shot at making a playoff run this season. Colorado just lost two of the best players in program history. They've got a head coach who seems to have 1.5 feet out the door already. I think Colorado regresses back to the mean, which is not a good one. Georgia Tech is a very good program. Right now, the spread, I think, what did it open at? Like Georgia Tech -2.5. I think it's already up to 5 in one place. I'm saying it's going to keep growing. Jump on Georgia Tech, bet the mortgage. They win this one big.
Yeah, that one coach for Colorado's already got a toe out the door too.
Come on,
He's
man.
the statewide ambassador for health. Obviously, he's not going anywhere.
But his toe,
All right. All right, just to spite David and his money line critiques of me earlier today, I'm taking Virginia to cover the spread against Coastal Carolina, mostly because, like, there's just not many games left, so you just gotta, like, I don't know. They really ought to cover the spread. They really ought to. They
If they had
really
any decency, they would.
they really, really
Have you met
ought
Tony
to.
Elliott,
They ought to,
the football
as I
terrorist himself?
I mean, look, don't say things like that. We've got pictures on right now in front of us of our favorite coach who should have that moniker first. At any rate, Jeff apparently doesn't have a pick, but rather has a joke.
No, it's both. It's both.
Okay.
Yeah. So a bear and a beaver are taking a dump in the woods.
that's funny.
And the bear asks the beaver, says, "Hey beaver, do you ever have any problem with stuff getting stuck to you?" And the beaver says, "Well, no." So the bear picks up the beaver and then wipes himself with it.
And that's a pick how?
I think he just picked Cal to win.
Yeah, that sounds like Cal outright. The Calgorithm is gonna love that, Jeff. Oh, I can't wait for those shenanigans from the Calgorithm. Oh God.
Beaver was not even in the bracket when we did it.
Well,
I was thinking the same thing. I never thought of that.
Me.
Outstanding athlete.
yeah.
Uh,
We'll talk
all
about
right.
you next week, Duke. Don't worry.
All right.
And all the
Well,
other ACC schools, don't worry. We'll mention you, but we'll talk great things or insult you. Either way, just tune in next week. You won't regret it. You will regret it, but you'll at least tune in next week, and that's all that's really important here on the virtual tailgate.
that's it for the virtual tailgate. You can send your questions or comments to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com, which was obviously right there on the screen for Jared to have seen.
Nah.
I don't think he looks at the script at all.
I don't think
don't.
you noticed when he talks about football, his eyes kind of roll back in his head.
And always remember these 3 rules: never get less than 12 hours sleep.
I gotta get used to being on camera.
Never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese.
That's ball game.